Alright, you guys, welcome to the RHoD playoffs, isn't it? Yeah?
It is the playoffs, the
Alright.
semi-finals, my friend.
Tonight we have two matches going on simultaneously. We're going to try and get you a little bit of both of those games, but we're going to be primarily focusing on the Steel Jaguar versus SWK game. And with me to help cast tonight, I have my good friend, Mr. Tribird. Introduce yourself.
Good to be here, Raffle. Still the chief lobbyist of the anti-slavery movements, and I guess formerly Blackstone Knight's most average pilot. I guess now one of their only pilots.
We got you the nice question mark, just to be ambiguous. So it's all
Thank
good.
you, thank you. It's appreciated.
All right, so we are on a 5-minute delay, just like everybody else. So all of this news is going to be old. Hope people don't spoil it for you, but we should be able to get you these matches in a little bit. Sounds like both teams are getting in lobby, readying up. So, why don't you tell us a little bit about what the matches are going to look like, what the restrictions are going to be. Just tell us a little bit about RHoD.
Yeah, for sure. So this is the semifinals. This season of RHoD chose to go with a mixed restriction. So basically that's a mixture of both tonnage restriction and some of the matches instead being a class restriction. What we'll have tonight for the first round, we'll have an 860 tonnage restriction, which is definitely one of the heavier drops we're going to see. Another heavier drop following that, it's a 4-4-2-2, so 4 assaults, 4 heavies, 2 mediums, 2 lights. After that, we have a 540 tonnage restriction, which will be the lightest drop deck we'll see. Now, as long as we don't have a 3-0 sweep at that point, we'll move to the last 2 matches. We'll have a 700 ton drop, and we'll have a 2 assault, 3 heavy, 4 medium, 3 light drop. All of these will be played. No, not all of these will be played. How it's working for the playoffs is we're going to have the higher seeded team able to choose the game mode for 1, 3, and 5. So for our SJR versus SWK matchup, SJR has chosen skirmish for drops 1, 3, and 5. For drops 2 and 4, SWK going with their bread and butter conquest.
And if we see it go to those last 2 games, SWK is very, very, very well versed in Conquest, but so is SJR, so we may or may not see that play out as an advantage.
Yep. And one of those is going to be happening at a fairly heavy weight, the 4-4-2-2, which is 4 assaults, 4 heavies. Another one happening at a fairly middle weight, the 700, the 2 Conquest drops.
Yeah, and so you were telling me a fun fact earlier that this is actually exactly 6 months since the RHoD playoffs last season.
6 months to the day. It's kind of crazy to think an entire season ago really was just December 3rd. At that point, SWK and SJR both went, I believe, undefeated through the entire RHoD season. Ended up meeting in the finals where SJR took it 3-1. Since then, we've added the Lords, who have now become, at least for now, the alpha dog in the entire MWO scene.
Yeah, and at the time, that was actually kind of an upset, because SWK had taken a lot of games off of SJR in Merrick, which is, as we know, a very restriction-heavy league. But it does, it was SWK's, it was their league. They were winning, they took almost every game. And so, it was kind of it was an interesting match to see the finals last season because you weren't sure who was going to win. And now we've got the addition of Lords. They've made a huge comeback, or well, not comeback. They've made a huge entrance. They were never behind. They've made a huge entrance into the competitive scene, and they are playing SIG actually tonight. So we'll try and keep you guys updated on that score. But yeah, I'm excited for this match.
If we talk about that match a little bit, that is a grudge match. 2 teams that I don't believe like each other, SIG and the Lords. There was a bit of a controversy that was kind of pushed out to the community by SIG, where Lords players were kind of accused of potentially cheating by using VPNs. Some people arguing that it wasn't really cheating at all. Some people arguing that Lords wasn't actually using VPNs other than a couple people. Turned out to be kind of a non-thing, but some bad blood between those 2 teams, let's say.
Yeah, it ended up being a fairly significant feud, and it's actually lasted, so that'll be an interesting game to see the results of. So what are you going to expect, Tribird? What are you going to expect from this game? Well, I finished my sandwich because I'm tired.
Well, I know just from our friend Twinkie, I believe, on Reddit. He didn't sound overly confident heading in. Was kind of making a bit of an excuse that unfortunately some of their regular pilots they had for the RHoD season weren't able to join them for this match. The most recent time they played, I believe, in RHoD was sometime kind of late April when SJR won that 3-1. I would be a little surprised if the end result wasn't the same. Now, I do know that on the SWK front, they have recently got an influx of new pilots. Several of my own teammates from BSK, I believe about 8 of them, have moved over to SWK to join them. That should be great. Adding good pilots like that just pushes everyone to a new level. Unfortunately, I believe they were not able to play tonight as they were not on the rosters for the regular season.
Yeah, a new injection of. I was just gonna say a new injection of pilots can really make a difference. It can be really helpful. I don't know, man. I think this is gonna be a really close game. Obviously, we didn't get to see these two teams play in the PGI tournament that we had recently. They started on opposite sides of the bracket, and SWK was knocked out before they could play SJR. But SWK was knocked out by Lords. So it's hard to judge because, I mean, Lords beat everybody. Lords beat SWK, they beat my team, they beat SJR, so it's hard to necessarily judge off of that. So I think this is going to be close. I would expect to see a very good fight.
Absolutely.
I'd be interested to see if either of them... So the map selection is still random, correct?
The map selection is random. I confirmed that with Magician before we went on tonight. Something I'm interested to see is to see how potentially today's patch changes might affect this match. Two big ones that I think could potentially have an effect. One of those was the nerf to the AC5 range. Apologize if you're hearing a siren right now.
They're coming to get you, man.
They're coming to get me this very second. Hopefully,
gotta put those sleeves on quick. Put the sleeves back on. Try. They're coming for your sleeveless arms.
No, I will never, not to hide from them. Anyways, there was an AC5 nerf. I'm trying to stay on topic here in Raffle.
Man, I'm just leading you
astray. An AC5 nerf to range. And a range nerf is really how to look at it is kind of just a situational damage nerf. How that looks is your standard, let's say, Dragon Slayer, 2 PPC, 2 AC5. At 800 meters, I ran these numbers before. Formally, that build would be doing, I'm going to say it was about 19 damage at 800 meters with 2 PPC, 2 AC5. After this nerf to the AC5 range, that drops down to about 17.5. So not a dramatic shift, but certainly makes a little bit of an impact. On that front, I wonder if we may see either of these teams bring more Gauss. I know it's a little bit of a tougher weapon to use, but as pilots use it more and more and become more comfortable with it, I think you'll see more people bring it back. I know Heimdallite switched over to that, and that's what he used in the finals against SJR in the PGI tournament. Other switch in this patch that is certainly going to have an impact was the changes to air and arty strike. Damage brought down to 35 from 40, and then the other change, I wouldn't even call it a nerf. They've increased the spread of the air and arty shells, which I guess means you'll take less damage if you happen to be the one right in the middle of it, but also means it's harder to get out of the range of the air or arty when you see that smoke come down beside you.
Yep, and they've also dropped it to 35 damage per shell from 40. So.
I said that a second ago, man.
Oh, you did? Oh, I missed it. I'm sorry. I was all focused on the making sure that we know when they're dropping into matches. My bad. But yeah,
it's cool. My ex-girlfriend didn't listen to me either, man.
Oh, no.
Oh.
No more lemon, please. We're just waiting right now to make sure that we know when both teams are going to drop into match. Sounds like they are close to ready, and I'm watching my friends list with bated breath. It looks like they're dropping.
Perfect.
There we go, and we're in.
Great. Much thanks to our friends over at PGI for giving you access to this tool.
Yeah, huge shout out to Carl Berg, who actually, sent me an email today and was like, "Hey, want to make sure that everything's worked out with this," and helped me make sure everything was set up. And huge thanks to Nico, who I talked to last night, and made sure that it was okay, made sure I followed the rules and all that jazz. But alright, we are in. We have the match. It is on Terra Therma.
Which I'm sure everyone's in love with in-game. Not the most popular of maps.
It looks like we have SJR spawning in red, and we have SWK spawning in blue. Now in Skirmish you spawn very, very far apart. This is actually the first time I've had the opportunity to cast this exact map, so this is going to be a lot of fun for me. Alright, but let's start out with these loadouts. Okay, looks like SWK has brought 9 Dragon Slayers, 2 Fire Starters, and 1 Cataphract. So they are quite heavy, I would say. But this, and again, is a quite heavy drop. Whereas from SJR, it looks like we have actually a fairly similar, an identical drop deck. These are identical drop decks, 2 Embers and a Cataphract with 9 Dragon Slayers. So this is actually 2 teams, identical drop decks. This is going to be as fair of a match as you can get in terms of builds.
It is interesting. Before the jump jet nerfs to the Highlander, this heavy drop deck used to be as many Highlanders as you could fit, and then fill out the rest with the Jenners. Since then, that nerf and kind of the rise of the Dragon Slayer in its place, and also the I guess the introduction of the Ember, start to see a lot more Dragon Slayers and Embers as opposed to the previous King, the Highlander.
Yeah, it does look like SJR has taken the center first, so they are going to have a pretty big advantage in the fact that they now control this central location. They can kind of dictate where fights happen. You see a UAV go up at this far door. I believe SJR threw that down. Just want to make sure that they know if SWK is going to be able to push in on them. But it looks like SWK is actually pulling back. They are taking a defensive position on this hill, actually very far away from the Caldera. It looks like they don't want to push into a position that isn't defensible. And it'll be interesting to see if SJR actually pushes out from here, or if they're going to wait for SWK to get antsy. Personally, I think they're going to go for it.
Yeah, it's interesting to see if we see these teams kind of stall and wait for each other for a little bit, or if one of them feels like they need to make a push. Now, I'd be a little bit surprised with veteran teams like this. Generally, if they feel like they have a strong position, they're not going to push until they kind of feel they have to.
Yep, that's very true. And one of the things we did see, or at least I'm not sure if you saw it, but I saw it out of the tournament, the PGI tournament that we had recently, was that SJR is very methodical about their pushes, but they are very, very practiced at them. So if they push out of here, they're going to know exactly where SWK is before they do it, and they're going to take the best position they possibly can to do it. So if we do see one team on the aggression, I think it's going to be SJR, and SWK I think will hold this position. This is actually a pretty good ridge that they found themselves. It's a fairly sharp angle. It's going to be good for jump sniping. You're going to be able to dodge it, but it's also long enough that if you misplace like an airstrike, you're going to be able to dodge most of it. And wow, this is actually a very interesting position. I've never seen anybody take this before.
I haven't either, and it is worth noting. I mean, if it does come down to SJR having to push into this firing line, certainly I'm going to say that we talk about SJR's brilliance a lot, but SWK has some of the absolute best jump snipers in the game. Twinkie Overlord, Eminent, other players like that. Just great players.
Yep, indeed. And we see that they are just content to sit here, take their shots. They look a little bit like killbots up on this ridge, just ready to lay down fire as soon as they see anything. Just hope they don't reach their max kill count. SJR, however, is still just sitting in the center. They're making sure that they're not making any mistakes. They're gonna chill here for a little bit.
And this is a true stalemate at this point. A lot of the times when you'll see two teams just kind of holding position, you still will have on a lot of maps opportunities for lights and other mechs to put down air and RD strikes on each other. On this map in these two positions, really, if a light was going to try to put an air and RD down on the other team, they'd be exposing themselves pretty significantly. So doesn't look like that's in play right now.
I just made the broadcaster 101 error. I didn't switch the overlay. Really glad we didn't have an engagement now. So just to reiterate, you guys, we have SWK in blue, we have SJR in red, and it looks like I've switched the overlay at the perfect time because SJR is in fact making a push out of the caldera. I apologize for that.
Yeah, kind of interesting. I wonder if they have any idea of where SWK's firing line is set up. I don't really know how they would, because I haven't seen any of their lights head out to scout just yet.
Yeah, it looks like Captain Terrific from SWK is in fact going to see this push happen. He's in a position where he'll be able to scout it out and see all of these enemy mechs coming. It does look like SJR has the right movement. They seem to know in the general direction that SWK is in. I don't know if they know their exact position, however.
While we're waiting for this to happen, I believe it was Twinkie who mentioned that they had picked up some players from outside SWK to finish the RHoD season, and I can see a few, when we were over looking at their team, I noticed a few Balls of Steel players, I believe, over there. And we just saw our first airstrike go down.
Yeah, airstrike goes down, does a decent amount of damage onto both Tsu and Python 3, both of them down to just below 95%. Not too significant, but it's okay damage. Another airstrike goes down, dropping a few more mechs a little bit of their percentage-wise, but no crippled mechs, no headshots, nothing significant yet. Score is still completely even. And SJR is taking a very... Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, I believe it was Seriothrax who put those down from very long range up against the center of the middle region.
Yep. It looks like...
at that point, they certainly will understand where SWK is now at this point.
Yeah, and SJR is taking a very long route. They're trying to put this mountain in between them and their opponents, making sure that they are separated for as long as possible from that sniper fire. But when they get around this corner, they're going to be faced with a very sheer wall that they're not going to be able to jump up, and SWK could use that to their advantage in the fact that they might be able to drop just a ton of air arty on them as they move in. SJR just taking a little bit of damage from an air arty there in the back, whereas SWK is actually getting a little bit more beat up, a couple mechs dipping down into the 80 percentile. This position is good, but they are going to take a lot of damage here. They're very clumped up.
Yeah, absolutely. Versus the majority of SJR's team is directly behind that mountain and far enough back that there's not really an angle for air arty to really do too much damage. Currently dropping airstrikes right now, just the longer range on the airstrike, hoping that picks someone off. As you can see, looks like an arty strike just went down there and did almost no damage at all.
Yeah, we see they're in now they're actually in a sniping battle. This isn't quite a stalemate. We see both teams going for trades, trying to make sure that they're dealing the maximum amount of damage possible while taking the least amount. We see a pretty good arty go down there in the back from from SWK, but it doesn't look like it does a ton of damage. Looks like those spread shells from the latest patch are actually having a little bit of impact. It looks like a fairly clustered pack, but not a ton of damage. SWK is still taking quite a bit of damage from these arties. SJR is able to drop arties on this little extrusion of rock here, and it's going to be able to push air arty farther into their opponent. The big one goes down, takes Third World down to 75%. Let's actually check and see how he is doing. If I can find his name, Third World, there we go. Looks like he has lost his shield arm, but he is still okay. Open rear armor, but no significant damage as of yet. And air arty is just going down everywhere from both these teams. These are two teams that absolutely know how important it is to use air arty in a situation like this.
Certainly in skirmish. In skirmish, you can see if you can just get one mech down with a lucky air arty strike when you're trading long-range fire, that gives you a total advantage to just pull back to your optimal defensive position, set up a firing line, and the other team is forced to push in on you.
Yeah, but really, I think SJR is getting the advantage of these trades. We see a lot of mechs dipping down into even the 70s, and 65 for
65 for Twinkie.
Wow. So a lot of mechs are dipping down fairly low in their health, and SJR is doing pretty good. I think the lowest mech I see from their side is Suicidal at 84%. So SJR is definitely winning these trades in terms of air arty. 60%.
Huge. It's a great ridge to be holding if another team was pushing in on you. Unfortunately, on the downside of being in front of a steep mountain like this is if they put it down at the right spot, right on the front of the mountain, they'll still have a lot of the shells hit the backside where our SWK is hiding, and for the majority of it, they really don't have anywhere to move, and they also don't have a lot of time to see the smoke because the smoke is for the most part coming down on the front of the ridge.
Yeah, and this is. We see varying builds on these Dragon Slayers, but actually some ERPPC, PPC Gauze builds on these Dragon Slayers for SJR, so they are probably getting a little bit of an advantage on range as well. I am trying to sort through here to get Twinkie because he is very damaged. Now we're on the SWK side.
Yeah, when we saw, I believe it was Third World then at 25% a little bit earlier, that was the loss of a left arm and some back.
Oh, I just heard a head critically damaged, and Gut takes down Python. First kill of the game. SJR is now up a kill. I was searching through it, and I heard Betty on his monitor just give that critical head component shot before he went down. So that's the first kill of the game. This means that the ball's now in SWK's court. They have to make the move.
So now the question is, I don't know if you want to switch back to the over.
Yeah, that's what I'm going for.
Screen, but is SJR going to move back towards what they think is a more defensible position, or are they potentially going to push them? Do they feel like they have the advantage?
I think they're feeling pretty good. They got a kill out of that position. They got a lot of damage down. A bunch of really hurt mechs. Twinkie is down a Gauze rifle at only 57%. They're swinging around a little bit. They're trying to make sure that they know as soon as SWK makes this corner push. The lights are doing a great job from SJR scouting, making sure that they know exactly where their opponent is. And SJR is actually going to miss this line of fire as SWK gets up behind this mountain. And depending on how they move, SWK could actually take the center from SJR. But I'm not sure if they will. They're down a kill, so SJR is just not going to push into that if they go for it.
Absolutely. Problem with taking the center now is there's really no incentive for SJR to move in there.
And it looks like Captain Terrific in that Ember is actually way away from his team. Might be trying to get down some good RHoD. But does SJR see SWK coming up behind them? It looks like they're looking around the corner, but SWK could get some pretty good shots off here. The lay of this terrain is a little bit different from the third-person cam. Oh no, they're not going to be able to see him at all.
I thought maybe T-Fun, who was up scouting, might have caught them, but you can tell from their movements that they are not responding to this right-hand push around this mountain.
It looks like they see it now, and they're forming up on this ridge. They're trying to get some good spots to jump snipe, and SWK is going to charge into this. If SJR gets some good RDs down, they might be able to stop this push, but otherwise SWK is doing a pretty good job of closing this gap without taking too much fire. We just see Iridian going down to 56%. That is a lot of damage. But no mechs have fallen in this push so far. Oh, there's the RD. It's going down right at the front of that column. It's going to do a good job. It takes down another mech. Another Dragon Slayer falls from SWK. And now we're in a good brawl. We've seen SJR excel in this situation, as well as SWK, so this could be anybody's game still. But with all of that damage that SJR racked up on SWK, they're going to be fighting from behind. Big air RD goes down, takes down another 2 mechs for SWK, 4-0 in favor of SJR. And it looks like SJR is actually backing up. They've got a few mechs separated, but they've formed a fairly decent firing line, splitting SWK with them right in the middle. 6-0 in favor of SJR currently. The lights are doing a lot of work. UAVs up from both sides, but 6-0. Oh, 7-1. They do manage to take off their first mech, but 6 mechs down is a hard deficit to come back from. And we do see SJR now leaving that defensive position, pushing in, going for the jugular, going for that kill, taking down these last mechs from SJR. Dragon Slayer falls right out of the air. Another mech goes down for SJR. Another mech goes down for SWK. 2-10 in favor of SJR. And it looks like Twinkie Overlord in his Dragon Slayer is running away, being chased down by Seriothrax. And it looks like Aurora in that Ember is also still alive. But it's just a matter of time now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Twinkie's losing components left and right, 15%, and that's the last mech down. So SJR takes the first of this best of 5 series.
And it was a pretty good push by SWK. Certainly when you get down that one mech and the other team knows you have to push in on them. I've seen far worse pushes in that desperate situation than that. I think just the big difference was how much damage that SWK had taken from RHoD in that initial trade. They had a great ridge to snipe and counter a push from, but unfortunately it was a very bad spot to be trading RHoDs from.
Yep, and it definitely was a great spot to receive a push. Had SWK or had SJR just tried to ball up and push into him, I think that would have been a very different fight. But they played it smart. They dropped their RHoD. They knew what they were doing.
Absolutely. Should we see if we can try to catch a Lords versus Sig match?
Let's see. That was pretty long. They might be getting ready. Why don't you give one of them a poke?
For sure.
I want to apologize again to the stream. I forgot to switch the overlay, so you guys missed the beginning stalemate of that match, which is okay, because it really was just that. SWK was holding the ridge, SJR was holding the center, but I noticed in time, you guys got to see the fight. Won't happen again! Alright. That was a good match. I apologize, we're just trying to make sure that we know. We're trying to just keep you updated on as many matches as possible all at once. I will update the score here. So many things to do. I swear, one of these days after streaming for this long, I will get it down and figure out how to do it. Okay, so that was the first game between SJR and SWK. SJR took it. It was on Terra Therma. And what is the next drop, Trey?
Well, why don't I tell you what the next drop is? I apologize. I was talking a little bit during that break and I was muted. Very clever of me. The next drop is 4-4-2-2. So we have 4 assaults, 4 heavies, 2 mediums, 2 lights. It's going to be a very, very similar deck composition to the last one we saw. I would obviously, I think a few of those victors on each team are going down to cataphracts, but truthfully I was surprised if what we're seeing from both teams wasn't 4 Dragon Slayers, 4 cataphracts, 2 Shadowhawks, and 2 Embers or Jenners. One caveat I will say is I do believe I've seen SJR switch one of the 2 Shadowhawks over to a Cicada just for the ECM coverage, and it's a capable scout mech as long as you can keep it away from the other lights.
Yeah, it's a good play, I have to say. Alrighty then. Have you heard anything from Sig or Lords about their first game?
I have not heard back from my friends over in Lords right yet. Do you have one of them on your friends list? Check to see if they're in game or not right now.
Yeah, we could just catch the very end of it. Time delay, where are you?
Just like Gojiel is in match. Hadn't seen that guy forever. Shout out to Gojiel.
Man, there are a ton of people on my friends list that have just been coming out. This is impossible with all of these new logos, by the way. Heimdallite is in a lobby. He is not in a match, so it looks like their first game is ending up. I will give him a poke and see how that first game went.
And so it turns out Addy is not in match. He just isn't responding to me. Addy, I thought we were friends.
Doesn't feel the same way about you.
Ah. Disappointing, man.
The dinner was nice, but it's okay.
Should have split that bill.
You always you gotta offer, and then if they take it, it's okay. But you can't be too insistent.
Yeah, I hear you.
All right, so we have SJR and SWK readying up for their second match, which is a 4-4-2-2, 4 assaults, 4 heavies, 2 mediums, and 2 lights. We are just trying to update you guys quick on the score of the Lords Sig match, and then we'll be going into the second match between SJR and SWK as soon as they are ready. So it doesn't look like we've seen too much of a change with RHoD. Looks like they were still a headshot. By the sound of it.
There was still a headshot, and that's.
I was just gonna say I was cycling through those mechs.
I know Mr. Sorry, go ahead.
Let's no, it's fine. I'll let you open the door.
I was going to say, I know Russ Bullock, I believe on Twitter, made mention that they might look at a reduction to head damage from RHoD, like I believe LRMs have right now, if it turns out that headshots were still prevalent after they increased the shell spread, which I think we just assumed, or we can just see it is prevalent, or at least it happens.
Okay.
But I think even SJR would say that they kind of hate to see a mech go down that way, even if it's on the other team. It's no team likes to win via random number generator. Teams at this level are hoping they win based on their skill.
Yeah, and I think that despite that headshot, they just nothing that headshot. Just reading some stuff. I think that RHoD should always remain a very valuable tool because they can end stalemates like that. Because nobody wants to just sit around and snipe at each other from a hill for 15 minutes. I mean, some people I guess like it. And let me be clear. Winning is never boring. If you're winning, it doesn't matter what you're doing. You're happy you won. So winning is never boring. But it's definitely a good tool to have something to break those stalemates. So I think RHoD is definitely a good tool that should remain in the game. But I agree that the headshot random factor is a little bit sketchy. Headshots should be something that are rewarding. You should yell over comms when you get them and be like, I shot somebody in the head, that was a free Atlas, yeah! So.
Yeah, I hear you. And unfortunately, that's you see a lot of games turn into that. Certainly in the skirmish mode, it just basically turns into a situation where teams trade air and arty from positions that basically they're out of effective range for their snipers. And once one team feels they've effectively softened up the other team enough, or gets that elusive head cap kill with the air or the arty, then that forces the opposing team to push in.
Yeah. And I've just got a message from Heim. House of Lords took the first match, which was on Skirmish on Caustic, and it sounds like they are in a match right now, so do we want to try and jump in and catch a little bit of that one, or should we wait? I'm not sure how long it's going to be before the SJR one.
I think what the people want is more mech action. Let's jump into it, Raffle.
Alright, let's do it. Alright, looks like we're joining in. Change the overlay.
I believe in you, by the way. I know you have it in you.
Looks like this one's on Crimson Strait. Let's check out.
And this was Sig's pick. So what we saw was we saw SWK choose Conquest for their choice, and Sig here has chosen Assault, which hasn't got a lot of play since the advent of turrets. This is certainly a map.
Oh wow, this game is already very developed. It looked like they are jumping in. Sig is in red on top of the platform, and Lords is in blue. It looks like they are underneath. They're just like close as can be, and no kills yet from either team. 0-0. We joined right at the perfect time, Heim. Not Heim. Try! God! Messing everything up. I'm just dealing with too many people at once. Alright, so...
Heim is playing in this game.
Heim is in this game. That is completely true. So we see UAV is up from both teams. We'll try and get you caught up really quick here. I see some Highlanders, or a Highlander at least, from SIG. So we see 4 Cataphracts, 4 Victors... wait, where's that Highlander tag coming from? Why does it say... Oh, I'm looking at the wrong team. I apologize. Lords has 4 Dragon Slayers, 4 Cataphracts. Man, this overlay, it messes me up all the time. Lords has the 4 Cataphracts, the 4 Victors, the 2 Shadowhawks, the Jenner, and the Firestarter, and they have managed to take down 1 mech from SIG into Chad, who was in a Cataphract 3D. We actually see Highlanders, at least 2 of them. Yep, 2 Highlanders, 2 Dragon Slayers, 4 Cataphracts, 2 Shadowhawks by the look of it, and 2 Jenners from SIG. So this is actually a very interesting battle right now. I haven't seen Highlanders used in a long time, but the score is pretty close right now, 0-1 in favor of the Lords. Alright, now that we're caught up,
No.
Eagle, what do you think about this situation right here?
Well, it's certainly interesting. I'm trying to catch a look of yeah, we've got basically SIG actually, I would say probably in the better position, holding the top right now with the Lords underneath. One advantage of being underneath is you're able to drop air and arty strikes directly on top of the opposition if you know where they are.
Yeah.
If you can find a safe place to park yourself under that platform. And 2 more mechs, by the way, just went down for SIG.
Yep, both Sace and Lego Pirate go down, a Highlander and a Dragon Slayer. So Sace is actually severely undertunned at this point, as well as being done those 3 mechs. Looks like Lords is making a slow push underneath the platform towards this railing over here, and they actually have put a couple mechs up on top now, whereas it looks like SIG is actually beginning to drop down, trying to deal with that spread of mechs. I'm going to just hover in the platform so you guys get to see nothing. A little bit of a brawl going on here. Mechs going down left and right.
SWK SJR game is live.
Oh, good to know. Well, this game just ended in a 12-2 in favor of Lords. So we're just gonna keep going. I'm gonna belay the analysis as much as I can. Siri's actually in here. How's it going, Siri?
Hey, Siri.
I thought you were playing.
I don't have spectate tool.
I know. I had to ask for it back.
Siri, are you jealous? I'm hanging out with Raffle right now tonight.
He stole your woman again. Or man? No, I'm the man. You are the women. Damn it! No. All right, so it looks like
right up.
We have game number 2 on Conquest.
It is Conquest. So games 2 and 4 are selected by the lower seeded team. In this case, SWK. So they pick Conquest for these 2.
Oh, no. It looks like that was a misdrop because people are killing each other.
Well, people generally kill each other.
Well, I mean, you don't generally kill your teammates, unless it's Tony, who will spectate right now, who is in fact killing himself. I think that it's the last 2 matches, right? It's 4 and 5 that are on Conquest, isn't it?
No, 2 and 4 on Conquest. This was a misdrop, I think, due to technical difficulties. I'll find out the story.
Okay.
So we might have had someone disconnect, potentially on the SJR side, because they are the team killing each other, which is the gentleman's thing to do when you have the disconnect.
Yeah, well, it looks like we see Tony putting a lot of really good shots on It's Alright With Me, doing the best he can to kill his own teammate. Really just doesn't like that cataphract, and It's Alright With Me falls tumbling down the hill, but it looks like SJR is going to manage to kill themselves before Tony can do any real damage. So we're going to have to go into the actual game number 2 in just a little bit.
We take pride in doing everything to the best of our ability.
Alright, well, we're going to get to know the drop decks, which is really nice. So we see 4 Dragon Slayers, 4 Cataphracts, 2 Jenners, and 2 Shadowhawks from SWK, whereas we see 2 Victors, Lances, awful, 3 Victor. Oh, that's the problem.
Like
they didn't.
Happened is, it looks like SJR was unsure of the 4-4-2-2. Instead went with, no, I don't know what happened.
3-4-3-2. Yeah, it was the 3
accidentally
cicadas.
in a cicada, because
oh,
he
magician.
liked being a light too much.
Magician, come on, you're better than that.
Alright, so that was not the real game number 2, as much as I do like the idea of Tony killing all of his friends. So that means that was the end of game number 2 from SIG versus Lords that we just saw, where Lords took game number 2, so they are now up 2-0 over their opponent SIG in this best of 5, whereas SJR and SWK are still waiting on game number 2. You know, I have to say, I'm glad we don't have to sync drop anymore for this, because this would just be
it's a beautiful
hours and hours and hours.
Huge advances with both the private lobbies and then now this spectate tool, which you've been gratefully given access to, really upping what we can do as far as the competitive scene with this game.
Yeah, huge shout out to Carl and Nico, the two people that I had never had to, got to deal with, because they were both pleasant and awesome the whole time. Got to talk to both of them last night and this morning, and we were able to set all this up, and so really glad to be casting some matches and having some fun.
I'm just having a ton of fun right now.
Oh, so Siri, why don't you tell us a little bit about that first match that you were in, since you got to live it? Did he leave?
I don't know. He's muted.
Oh,
was
okay.
he in the match?
He was in the first
sure
match.
if
He was not in the second match.
Yeah, I don't believe he was in the second match. So
Oh, he got
I
subbed
guess
out.
as a light specialist with only 2 lights in that drop, maybe they chose to go with a few other pilots. Although I would be surprised if they didn't choose Siri as one of their 2 lights. Who knows their reasoning?
Siri asked to bail. He needed to come make fun of us so that he knew that you were you knew you were in trouble.
I am in trouble. Sorry, Siri.
Okay, so
Do you wanna talk about this? I guess the end of the Sig and Lords match we just
yes,
watched?
I would love that. Let's talk about that a little bit. Okay, so Lords was already up 1-0 in that situation. They were already up a game. So, but that was a very interesting engagement position that we saw. Granted, we joined in right at the beginning of that fight, so we didn't get to see anything building up to it. But it's very infrequent that you see teams like that. I mean, they're both really, really good teams. Fight in a situation like that. Are Jaeger and those guys?
Yes.
Oh god.
SJR is live.
Okay, joining now. It was an interesting
Sorry.
battle that we saw between Sig and Lords, to say the very least. It was just a hodgepodge of matches. Alright.
Yeah.
Looks like they got Canyon again.
Which is interesting. And
It
hopefully
is
they
indeed.
have one less cicada this time.
Alright, and we are already seeing some jump sniping going down. Looks like we have SJR in red and SWK in blue. And SJR is just taking this far ridge. They're taking some pot shots. Looks like they are capping 1 point to SWK, who is just capping the center point, Theta. So the score should be about even on points. Let's hop in and take a look. Yep, we see 35 to 35, counting upwards. Theta, wow. It looks like SWK has in fact taken the lead a couple, like 1 point ahead of SJR. No, it's like dead even. I don't even understand what's going on here. So the points are very close. It looks like caps are not quite a factor yet. Zoom out, get a bird's eye view. Oh god, I was getting like constant screen shake. That was scary. SWK has taken a fairly favorable position on the back of Theta. SJR is pushing around behind this radio tower, trying to get some shots on their opponent. Looks like Aura in a Jenner is going to cap that point by himself, trying to assure themselves a slight cap lead over SJR. Do you think they're going to try and play the cap game?
I don't think so. I think if that was their intention, they would have sent more than just 1 light to do it. It certainly takes a very long time for a single light to cap a point. I think they would probably have sent both their lights out if that was their intention. I'm trying to find the other SWK light right now on the stream. Might be a little bit easier for yourself with
I will do that for
visuals.
you. We see some good RHoD go down from both teams. Ooh, looks like a really big one there. SWK is really getting the underside of these RHoDs. Looks like we see an Ember, a Jenner, and 2 cicadas over counter-capping SWK's spawn point. Good RHoD goes down trying to stop that SJR push, and SWK is swinging wide around Theta. Looks like a few of their mechs are dropping down by ramp, trying to prevent all of them getting too clunked up. RHoD goes down in the corner, but not a lot of significant damage. Most damage mech we see right now is actually Third World in a Cataphract 3D. SJR is really pushing around this corner, though. They're staying close together, and they're dodging that RHoD on the back of the point that SWK has just dropped. We're seeing a real spin-to-win battle here, with SWK rotating as fast as they can, with SJR doing exactly the same. But the one advantage that SJR does have is that they're going to have their light mechs coming around in the back here, and I'm guessing that those cicadas are twin PVC, or maybe not actually. But But either way, this is going to be a pretty big brawl here on Theta pretty soon, as we see both teams tightening their arc. SWK is actually catching up with the rear flank of SJR. We see Suicidal Baby actually go down, 2 mechs down for SJR compared to the 1 from SWK. SWK is doing a great job of pushing in behind him, picking off any stragglers that SJR has, but it looks like they're slowing down a little bit, trying to take those extra shots that may give SJR the chance they need to get ahead. Still 2-1 in favor of SWK, and they are up on points as well. 2-2 now as a big Artie strike goes down.
This is certainly fairly unique to see in a heavier drop. This sort of the quick ring around the brosy, almost quasi brawl, let's say. And it looks like we might have had another.
Oh wow!
2 more SWK pilots go down.
2 more SWK mechs go down. They stayed out a little bit long on that ramp trying to pick off stragglers, and they themselves became the stragglers. That's what's so hard about this battle right now. We see SJR continuing their cycle. SWK loses another mech as they're pushing through, but Odwalla is going to go down in this cataphract. He's completely out by himself. 25% still kicking somehow. 22%. I don't know even how that guy's still alive.
That's torso twisting, my friend.
Wow, 21%, he's still there, and SWK is actually taking a lot of damage trying to deal with him. It looks like they only have 7 mechs remaining compared to SJR's 10 mechs remaining, and this is actually becoming a fairly large brawl right now. There's not much of that rotating going on. It looks like SJR is happy to just sort of take a position altogether and finish this fight. Only 2 mechs remaining for SWK. We see a Shadowhawk and a Jenner, Captain Terrific, and oh, I lied. Twinkie Overlord. What? Twinkie goes down.
I see Captain and Ball left up. Ball lure.
It looks like that screen does not update correctly, but that's okay. We see the last remaining Shadowhawk Iridian goes down. Oh, it was a name. A name was covering it up. SJR takes game number 2. Apologize for that sketchy calling at the end. So that is game number 2. The next game will be on Skirmish, correct?
It will be back to Skirmish, and I believe it is the lightest of the drop decks. 540. So generally what you see in that is pretty similar to what you just saw. It just basically turns into a, if we're trying to keep it G-rated, a giant cluster F. Pretty much immediately. It's certainly it's also a drop where you see airs and arties are less prevalent because normally the murder ball is so tight that you can't accurately put down a air or artie without hitting your own team as much as the other team.
Oh my god, I fucked up the overlay again. Fucking shit!
And I just didn't say clusterfuck to try to keep it rated G, and then you just say fuck a second later.
God damn it. Well, fuck me.
I'm not going to. I'm not going to, Ruffle.
Well, I'm actually really mad about that. I apologize, guys.
I'm going to say it's entirely the reason why you hardly ever see Highlanders anymore. You get in that situation where 2 teams are rotating right and just doing what they can to pick out mechs in the back of the train on the other team. Highlanders are just frankly too slow. Conversely, the Dragon Slayer, you can get it it's going somewhere between 73 and 78 kph, depending on whether your build runs a 325 or a 350.
Sorry about that last game. That won't happen again. I'm going to just... Yep. Shout at myself. Can't believe I fucked that up again. So sorry. Okay. Drop number 3.
Oh, did we
yeah,
were you doing that with the overlay over top of it the entire time?
Yep, fucked up. God
well,
damn
guys,
it.
you missed an interesting ring around the rosy around the Theta point with a bunch of victors and cataphracts on both sides circling. That's kind of what you missed.
Well, shit. Apologize for that. Yep, hate dealing with this many overlays.
Continuous improvement. I believe you have it in you, and keep practicing, and we'll get there, Raffle.
I'm just gonna build an overlay that has the score and the teams on it, that I don't have to deal with this. Because it's super irritating. I can't believe I forgot. Man, I dealt with like so many overlays before this too when we had to do like the 2 perspective streaming. And now I'm like, I can't remember to switch one. Hold on, let's set up a hotkey. Let's set up a hotkey real quick. Set hotkey.
So while Raffle sets up hotkeys
Numpad 8
in his streaming program, why don't I tell you about the run I went on tonight?
Yeah, how's that run?
It was a bad run. So swallowed 2 mosquitoes, so extra protein, get your minds out of the gutter, and then saw a dude who literally looked exactly like Khal Drogo, only tattooed up and wearing a denim shirt and walking a pit bull, kind of like a hipster Khal Drogo. And I'm talking, he had the beard, he had certainly the physique of Khal Drogo, and he had the eyebrows. Like, he had some work done on those eyebrows. Dark, arched. It was intense. Maybe it was Khal Drogo. Could he be in Calgary? Why couldn't he be in Calgary, I guess? I guarantee this, if you were the actor who played Khal Drogo, you would certainly not be giving up that look, right?
No, man, I'd look like that
being
forever.
A regular person. You would stay Khal Drogo, I assume.
Oh yeah. It does look like Haim is in a match, so let's jump into that match that I don't look like a complete fool.
And, maybe fix overlay.
So serious,
yeah.
Back.
I'm just stepping by to take little pot shots.
Oh, don't worry. I got it set up to a hotkey now. Never gonna miss it again. I just have too many tabs open. Yep. I'm messing everything up. It looks like we have game number 3 between Lords and Sig is on Alpine. This is just gonna be a huge mess for anybody who's watching later on. But it looks like we're joining this again in the middle of a fight. Let's try and see what the actual score is at. Catch the very end of this game for you guys. It looks like Lords are gonna take. Yeah, it's 11-3 in favor of Lords. We literally just caught the very end. Mr. G in a Jenner is the last Sigmech. It looks like Addy actually kills Heimdallite. Some friendly fire going on. Let's get some more of that.
I'm going to assume that is intentional.
Yeah, actually. What were you gonna say?
He told Addy that he averages 120 team damage per game.
Who does? Who averages 120?
Addy. I don't know how, but he does.
That's awesome. Okay, so
that's pretty intense.
We just caught the last game there between Sig and Lords, just the very end of that match. But that does mean that is a 3-0 in favor of Lords, so they will be moving on to the finals.
And that is that's kind of an interesting drop, the 540 drop, which, as we said earlier, normally just turns into a very fast murder ball and between 2 light drop decks. Alpine's kind of an interesting map for that because you do have a situation where if one team did choose to bring slightly more of a sniper loadout, they would have at least a little bit of an opportunity to put shots on the other team before that brawl starts. I will say 12. I guess it was 12-3, but it really was 12-2 because Addy killed Heimdallite. That's a huge score in that light drop. In that light drop, something like 12-6, 12-7. That's actually a very convincing win, and something like 12-2 and 12-3. That's really shows you how strong the Lords are.
Yeah, it looks so. Lords will move on to the finals against either SWK or SJR, depending on how these next games go. I want to apologize again for not fixing the overlay. I have a hotkey. I have my OBS set to always on top on my screen so I can always see what is playing. Will not happen again. You will get this full last game. I am so sorry. I am so sorry. Eternally, I am so sorry. Can't believe I did.
Maybe what we can do is we can use a high quality video editing software like Windows Movie Maker, which in my opinion is the best video editing software out there.
It's the only video editing software I can afford.
To put the Twitch from one of the 2 teams up. It wouldn't be the third-person view, but it would be something.
It's perfect.
How do you feel about doing some work tonight later?
I'll download the audio from ours and put it over like Jaeger's stream or something like that, so people can see it. There we go. Perfect. Easy peasy. Okay, so it looks like now we are just waiting on game number 3 between SJR and SWK. Hotkeys are set. Man, I don't know.
You can do it.
I didn't think I was this tired, man. I guess I'm just way more tired than I thought I was. Well, you know what it is? Phil spoiled me. Before, all I was doing, I was just sitting there. All I had to do was join in on the match. I clicked some buttons. I was like, oh, look at these mechs. They're doing stuff. Phil was being awesome, like had the camera moving. I didn't have to care about anything. I was like, look at these mechs moving. Let me just talk about stuff.
So it's basically what you're just doing right now is you're just
I am
just slapping me in the face via compliments for Phil. I'm right. I do stuff.
No, I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
Looking dude,
that's true. The couch Drogo, that's important stuff right there. I'm just saying. Cool. This is the firstest of first world problems right here. I've forgotten how to do my own overlays. That's what's going on. No, I am really sorry about that, you guys, and I will put in some extra work tonight to try and get you that game with commentary and video. But we are just waiting on game number 3 now.
I'm gonna say, so our stream is on a 5-minute delay, obviously, because with the spectate tool we are watching live, so we certainly wouldn't want to potentially hurt the integrity of these two games by putting up on a stream that would be just a few seconds delayed. Therefore, putting out some potentially some information to somebody who might be spying on the stream or just watching the stream. Yeah, so that's. I just actually now saw your reaction when you saw that the overlay was wrong, and you did some interesting neck movements there.
Dude, it's neck movements. I play rugby, so I tend to have a very stiff neck, but when I'm angry, I flex all the muscles in my neck, and my neck cracks. So that's what happened. Yeah, I
didn't realize you were such a physical specimen, Raffle. You're a rugby player. You're just telling me about your judo and your jiu-jitsu careers. This is interesting.
I am also a decathlete.
That's what? That's 8 sports?
10. So I do the 100-meter dash, the 110 high hurdles, the 400-meter dash, the 1500-meter run, the long jump, the high jump, the pole vault, the shot put, the discus, the
if you're just running different differences. It's just all running. You run and then you
stop
for a bit and then you run again.
It's 4 running events, 3 jumping events, and 3 throwing events.
No, I personally, I'm going to call that a triathlete. You run 4 times, you jump 4 times, whatever you said. I'm not buying it. Well, so I've got an issue. If you want to talk about it, hit me out. I'm on TeamSpeak. I'm on Mercstar all the time.
Well, so that's 3 then. So then I mean I get 2 more for judo and for rugby. And so then do I does MechWarrior count as a sport? Can I count that? Can I be a sextathlete?
Sextathlete? Yeah, you can be a sextathlete.
There we go. Perfect. Oh, we're so childish.
So at a 540 drop, what do you expect to see as far as these decks, Ruffle?
I expect to make sure that they didn't drop into the game without me noticing. Really quick, hold on. Okay, thank God. No games to spectate. I expect to see probably Jenners, maybe some fire starters. The problem with fire starters is that they're really not like light on light mechs. They're not just built for that. They're built for more heavies and mediums. So either way, we're going to see a lot of legs. We're going to see both teams going for a lot of leg shots, and these low drops are actually some of the drops that are referred to most jokingly as sort of a dice roll, because they can just be, you know, your AC-20 doesn't reg when you're shooting at a light mech's leg, or something like that happens. And so it is possible to just totally lose a game that you thought you were going to win in this light drop, because mechs are so fragile. And like you said, you don't see a lot of RHoD because they're hard to hit, but if you do hit an RHoD, holy crap, is it devastating. Because none of your mechs have, like, how much armor does a light mech have? Granted, it's only 35 damage from an RD now, but that's still like a component off of any part of a light mech.
It's almost enough to take off the leg.
Yeah, it's
your leg's got about 52 total in, counting internal structure. So yeah, no, it's pretty close. Other thing you see, you kind of mentioned fire starters aren't as popular. Big thing there is those machine guns are just great at critting out exposed components. But in this situation, every shot between good teams is going to hit legs. And when all the mechs are fairly light, Shadowhawks are generally sometimes the heaviest mech you see out there. Once a leg is exposed, the next AC-20 and medium laser round that hits it is probably going to take it out anyways. So the need to keep machine guns on that target to take it out, it's really not as necessary.
Yeah, and you will probably still see like a couple, like one or two, but you won't see them in the large numbers. Like, you didn't see any Jenners in that first drop. It was all Embers, because while Jenners are good, they're not as heat efficient, and they don't do as much consistent, like, God, Firestarters just tear up open mechs. Like, as soon as you have an open component, you're done if there's a Firestarter on you. Like,
yep.
unless you manage to one-shot him, you're done.
It's interesting, because I would say at this point, though, it's a little bit of pilot preference, I would say, between the Ember and the Jenner. You see some pilots preferring the Jenner. I know on the Lords you always see Peepers. He seems to be kind of exclusive Jenner pilot versus Addy, who seems to be kind of an exclusive Ember pilot at this point.
And they've forgotten to tell me again that they're in, so we're joining a little bit late on the SWK SJR game number 3. We have SJR in red and SWK in blue. The map is HPG, and the teams are circling each other actively around the center. This game is on skirmish.
Target acquired.
Alright, so we only missed a minute of combat, but that was a fast minute. Both of these teams rushed in, got some pretty quick positioning on each other, and are beginning the counterclockwise rotation around the radio dish. See UAV go up from both teams, each of them trying to see where the other is at, make sure they know what these movements are like. Big air RDs go down from both sides, but no kills yet from either. We do see the light mechs and mediums from SJR have, it looks like, caught up with Iridian and the Shadowhawk from SWK. He's taking a lot of damage. They might be able to pick him off, get themselves that crucial first kill, and it looks like that's a leg. He's moving slow. He's going to be out of the fight. They're completely swarmed now by those lights, and we do see actually quite a few Embers here. Just one from SWK, along with 6 Jenners and 5 Shadowhawks, where it looks like SJR has brought quite a few more. You'll hear that there is no sound in space, so no one can hear you scream. But it looks like both teams are actually up 1 kill each. This is a pretty good fight, a pretty good brawl right now. Neither team really has the edge. Lots of mechs dropping down to either side. Nobody has a clear upper hand at this point.
No, and it's certainly in the heavier drop decks. You can you see that right-hand rotation sometimes continue on, sometimes for a very long time, continuing on the map. It can go on for minutes and minutes on a map like Caustic. In this light drop deck, usually right away that shifts, and you basically just have a giant cluster F brawl.
Yeah, and we do see that 3 more mechs have gone down for SWK compared to 2 more for SJR, so this is still a very close match. It's still anybody's game. We do see G-Man and the Shadowhawk. Oh no, he's dead. I lied. I was going to be like, he's so low! It's currently 5-5. Both teams are very close on both kills and damage. This game is the closest one we've seen so far in this series. We see Legal Department trying to catch out this Jenner imminent with help from Shadowhawks, but it looks like both teams are taking a lot of damage, and it looks like SWK is up in kills, but only by 1 as SJR takes another one. Man, this is a close fight.
They have all 5 Jenners left for SWK.
Yep, and it looks like
we might say clean up at this point. 5 Jenners versus 3 mechs, regardless of what they are. That's a huge advantage.
Yeah, and it looks like one of those mechs is a Shadowhawk, and it goes down. Just 2 mechs remaining for SJR, and SWK, they're doing really well. It looks like Legal Department and T-Fun are the last 2 remaining mechs in these Embers. And that's, as T-Fun goes down, it looks like it's just Legal Department in an Ember, 70%, but he's not going to be able to take these last mechs. So many Jenners, so many lasers. He's trying to get away, 64%, doing the best he possibly can, but I don't think he's going to do it. Drops down below, and he takes critical damage. He is out of the fight, and that's the game. SWK takes their first match of the series.
There we go. So congratulations to them. I know that light drop deck, that's where I feel like it's the most a coin flip, I guess, between the 2 teams. I know previously in my gaming experience against SJR, both the Antera Scorpions with the Blackstone Knights, it was always that 540 drop deck that we thought we had the best chance of taking a game off them.
Yeah, and see, You know, we talked about it a little bit beforehand. We see very, very similar decks, but we see SJR has gone for 5 fire starters and 2 blackjacks instead of the 1 fire starter and 6 Jenners that SWK has gone for. And I honestly think that that's the reason they lost. I think that even in this light drop, it is such, like, you saw that they were up on kills at the beginning there. They managed to catch a mech out. They were up, I think it was, well, they were even on kills for a long time. But those fire starters just
close.
You can't deal with those enemy Jenners, and that's shown by, I think it was 1, 3, and 5 kills for SWK's Jenners. Those numbers don't lie.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's generally how when these matches are between 2 equally matched teams, you'll generally just see them trading mechs until you get to maybe 6, 5 left on either team, and then it's at that point it's who's done the better job of getting their damage on legs, right? If one team has really done that well, then their remaining 5 mechs can quickly turn that into the kind of normal snowball effect you see, where 5 mechs quickly take that down to 6 to 5 to 4 to 3, that sort of thing. Yeah, and that's what happened there. So I do wonder, yeah, as you pointed out, whether the Jenner Fs provided them an advantage in the initial part of that engagement to strip armor, where they have a big advantage over the Ember.
Yeah. So that was game number 3, SWK's first game of the series. Let me update the overlay.
So while you're doing that, I will tell you about the next drop, which is going to take place at 700 tons. So it's a fairly medium one. Once here, you're going to see probably pretty similar to as we see in the other drops. Some Dragon Slayers, some Cataphracts, Shadowhawks, and the Jenners or Embers, depending on the pilot preference. If we do get past this one to the 5th game, that is going to be more of a, once again, a lighter drop deck where you just saw SWK did pretty well. So we'll see if they're able to take this one and force that to a 5th game where maybe they do feel confident. This one will take place on Conquest. I should also mention that was SWK's choice, and they had the choice in the 2nd and 4th games.
And I'm sorry, what did you say the tonnage restriction was?
700.
Okay, so this is going to be a much heavier drop than that last game that we saw, which we have seen SJR have somewhat of an advantage of, but I would still say that Conquest is SWK's playing ground. Sorry, SJR has had an advantage in the heavier drops. Conquest is SWK's playground. I'm losing it here, man.
Oh. No, you're good. And it is if SWK did want to play the capping game, which certainly it's a bit of a coin flip. If you get a light map, as the saying goes, light map, don't cap, it becomes less of an issue. If you get a large map with spread out cap points, so something like a Terra Therma, for example, if SWK wants to play that game, you would expect to see their drop deck consist of basically a few more heavy mechs and more lighter mechs, which that they can then split up and grab cap points. Something like maybe 6 Jenners or 6 Embers, something along those lines.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be interesting. The thing that is still interesting about RHoD is that it uses random spawn locations. So, or not random spawn locations, random maps. So you aren't going to see people building their drop decks specific to maps, which means that that's why you're seeing all of these, the most versatile mechs.
Yep. And it will be interesting. There could be I don't know the answer, but there could be a lot of changes to RHoD next year. It's certainly been one of the most popular leagues that has existed in MWO's time. Next year, I've heard there's maybe the potential that it turns into an 8v8 league, as that's just seems to be a lot easier for teams to compete in 8v8 or field a full team of players. Could see some sort of home team gets the map selection or something along those lines. Don't know. There's it's kind of actually it's a pretty positive thing. These private lobbies have given us all these options to customize how we're playing the game at the competitive level.
Yeah, and I think that we saw Merrick make a change mid-season to fixed planets, but I think that the guys in charge of RHoD, Magician, and everyone involved, they wanted to keep it plain and simple, how it had been done so far until the end of the season before they made any changes. And I think it's a good call. You want to make sure that it's a continued level of competition throughout the season. And Okay, I just saw my friends list shift. Wanted to make sure Jaeger didn't drop into a match. Don't want to miss a single second of this next one for you guys.
We can do it. Continuous improvement. Kaizen.
Continuous improvement.
Japanese philosophy.
Yeah, you know, I'm glad SJR lost one. It means I get to redeem myself, get 2 nice games in a row where I'm not going to forget about the overlay. Perfect.
No, you can do it. I know you can. This time we're going to get it like right as the mech loading in screen.
Yep, it's going to be perfect. As I scour my friends list.
You can do this without Phil. I believe in you.
I can do it all on my own.
Now that we don't appreciate Phil. Love you, Phil.
No, I'm just making excuses because I can't believe I did that. It's my fault. Alright, so we see looks like they're still just making changes. That is a pretty big difference to make up for. Some people probably had to leave lobby, build some new mechs, fix some stuff up, get back in. So hopefully we'll have this game for you in a little bit. Ooh. So what do you think, I know we talked about it a little bit at the end, or at the beginning of that match before, and a little bit at the end, but personally, what do you prefer in terms of the balance between Embers and Jenners?
My preference is now at this point probably the Ember. I don't play a ton of lights, kind of a jack of all trades type. When I do, it's just that ability in a lot of matches. Once you have got your heat up to kind of the critical levels, to just continue putting out damage near the back end of a brawl without generating any heat, I feel like is such a huge advantage. But once again, it's some pilots have a big preference to the one or the other. In the end, there's probably situations, certainly, where you know, a Jenner F, especially if you're a pilot that manages their heat well enough that your Jenner F build runs 6 medium lasers versus 5, and you're one of those pilots that really does a good job of waiting for a clear shot and having the full 30 points of damage rather than 25. That's where you'll have kind of a big swing, because against exposed unexposed components, still armored components, Ember's only doing 20. Plus that's I mean, very, very small amount that the machine guns are doing against an armored component. That's a huge swing early in a fight. Now late in the fight, that's where it takes the Ember. So situational. How about you, Raffle? I don't know if you're a light pilot.
Oh, not in the slightest. Although I did recently buy my second Jenner. I have my original Founders Jenner, and I just bought the Champion Jenner because I'm finally going to master these things.
You run Jenners without them even mastered? Like, you don't even have speed tweak on your Jenners?
I do not have speed tweak on my Jenners. No,
you don't even have a Jenner. Just don't say you don't have a Jenner.
I've never played anything. Well, have I ever played a light mech? I think I played a Commando once in a competitive game. Other than that, though,
an unspeed tweaked Commando?
No, I did master my Commandos. I have a 1B, a 2D, and a Death Snell. I was one of those guys that had to prove back when ECM was top tier, like right after it came out, and like the 2 best mechs in the game were the Raven and the Commando. I was like, nah, Ravens are not that good. I'm playing the Commando. Screw you guys. So I mastered out my Commandos. So I do have those, but I don't know why I've waited to do Jenners for so long. But I'm finally doing it, getting some practice in on the light mechs. Well, I mean, here's how I see it. I'm running them without speed tweak. It's like running a clan mech. It's like running a clan light. So I'm just getting practice for clan lights.
A little bit. Without the advantage, I guess, of a lot of weaponry.
7 AC-20s.
You gotta bio 3 at once. Just bio 3 at once, and then you're getting double experience bonus for your first win of the day. Then you sit down, you get your win in 1, immediately switch to the next one, immediately switch to the next one. Done for the day. Just get that 2 experience bonus once. You'll have them all mastered in 2 weeks, and you'll play 20 games. Promise.
Alright, sounds like a plan.
You got the C-bills for it. Are you poor? Space poor?
I only have 20 mil.
20 mil? You're balling on a budget over there.
I'm slightly space poor, man. I gotta admit.
Can I just ask you quickly? Make sure you're watching that friends list to see if we see any of our SJR friends jump in a match.
Actively watching Jaeger's name on the list, as well as clicking the spectate button, making sure that if he does get into a game, I am there as fast as I possibly can be.
And just watch as they leave Jaeger out of this match for some reason.
I'd be so angry. I got G-Man up there too, so I can look at G-Man.
One of the two should be playing in this match.
Yeah, pretty sure. And hold on, let me just make sure that's serious.
Have I noticed, by the way, if we're filling some time right now, it looks like My friends in SJR, they've switched over to Clan Smoke Jaguar, which is, I guess it's a Jaguar.
I noticed that I've been having trouble finding all of the people on my friends list because of these new funny symbols. I'm like, what is that thing next to Heimdelight's name? What's this business? So I'm just I don't know why, I'm having trouble with it.
Some people were a little bit upset, I guess, over that they changed the artwork on that. But
really? I mean, they changed the
I don't
artwork
know.
on Kurita Steiner. Like, those aren't the original Davian, Kurita, Liao, FRR, Steiner, like, artwork.
Actually, can I talk about the hilarity that required at hotfix tonight for people that haven't?
Oh, yes, please do, because I didn't even know about
'Cause
that, and I got back minutes before the game, and we were waiting.
Pretty funny. So I guess what our friends at PGI did in the last patch, one of the changes they made was just to change how the internal structure of a mech was coded. So that would be like your shoulder, your arm actuators, your gyro, that sort of thing within the mech. So they changed it over to a new format. I assume probably some change having to do with implementing clan mechs would be the reason for that, but I'm just speculating there. Apparently they forgot to change over one of the files, which was I guess, and at this point there was a new hero mech with today's patch, but the second most recent one, the Trebuchet Loup de Guerre, and they just didn't switch it over, which somehow resulted in-game it having no internal structure, which meant in your head you had 6 open critical slots that you could put whatever you wanted in. In your center torso, if you wanted, you could put 2 engines, which I don't know if anyone did. I'm not a Loup de Guerre owner, but I wonder how the game would handle that. Would one overwrite the other? Who knows? How fast would you go if you put 2 different sized engines in there? Would it combine?
I think it'd give you a critical loadout error. Because I've had 2 engines bug onto a build before, and it just doesn't let you drop.
But I mean, in that case, you'd be or tonnage, right? What if you were of tonnage? Who knows? Anyways, it was pointed out very quickly, actually by our friend over at Smurfy.net. Very quickly on the Reddit forums, Nico made a post saying, "Oh shoot, is this happening with other mechs? Can people please test?" Smurfy came back right away, catching the mistake in the code because he's a computer Jedi like that, and letting him know that the mistake existed in the Loup de Guerre file, and only the Loup de Guerre file, and it was then, I think the response was "oops" by Mr. Berg over at PGI, and the hotfix was coming out tonight. They didn't want to let that one live for long, but I was hoping it would, because then, would one of these teams maybe bring out the all Loup de Guerre drop deck, try to take advantage of that error? Could we see? I mean, not actually, but it would be hilarious.
It would have been really awesome. Just heatsink. What was it? You could fit 3 heat sinks in the head. Maybe
You
personally.
Could fit, 2. You get 2 double heat sinks in the head. You get 2 in each of the legs, taking advantage of your heat sinks working more efficiently if you immerse them in water. The start of the game's told me that before.
Oh, that startup screen. You know what I really would have liked to see is I would have liked to see like special matches go down where just everybody takes that Treb and puts a bunch of ammo in their head and no armor, and then all you get is small lasers. So you have to run around and just like spray over their head and hope you get a headshot, because if you do, it cooks off that ton of ammo and then they just explode. That would have been fun.
It would have been great.
The opportunities we miss when we miss these bugs, man. Come on, PG. You had to
PJ,
hotfix it.
Your errors in the game. Let us exploit them for humor for at least a little bit. Come on. God, at night.
And before we get yelled at, there's no excuse for leaving in errors in the game. Raffle, waffle, and Tribird. That's not okay. That's my angry viewer voice. All right, looks like we're still.
That good.
Yeah, I mean it's my favorite impression. It looks like we're still waiting. Jaeger has not yet dropped into a game. Let's fish for a little update here from our friends lists. Just message Siri because he's still in the channel. He's just muted up.
Yeah, perfect. And this is kind of surprising. It's taking this long for the next drop with the advent of private lobbies. I would generally assume somebody's having some computer problems on their end, and they're waiting for somebody to load back in. So at this level, everyone's got their drop decks built beforehand. It's no surprise just switching your mechs out.
Now Siri just responded with imminent, and I don't know if that means that imminent is having trouble, or that the ETA is in fact imminent and they will be dropping soon. This is the problem when we have players with such names.
Knowing that Thorax has an absolute great vocabulary, I'm going to assume that means it's happening right away. It is imminent.
That's exactly what I would hope. Most
people would have
as well.
said it's soon. They would have said soon. Siri, I know Siri's got imminent in him. It's in his lexicon. And is lexicon in your lexicon? That's my question of the day.
Lexicon is in my lexicon.
It's the best word in the English language. Lexicon means the words and phrases that make up your vocabulary. So lexicon is in my lexicon. It's meta. That's meta right there.
It's very meta. Oh boy! All right, we're still waiting on this game.
High-end analysis when you have me on the stream.
I need you tonight, man. I'm struggling right here. I guess I'm a little bit more tired than I thought I would be. It's hot in my room.
The only thing that's struggling is your confidence, man. We just gotta build it up.
Yeah, build my confidence. Just my head's so shiny, makes me feel so good. All right. Oh! Hey! I caught it. My friends lift shifted.
We got it.
They're in the game.
Right
we have Caustic Valley on Conquest.
I'm just going to give a quick shout out to Cafe Angst, by the way, who apparently loves my biceps.
I mean, that's why you don't wear sleeves, man. Sleeves ruin the seps. Alright, we have actually loaded in before the match has started. They haven't even powered up yet. We have SWK in blue spawning on the ridge side, and we have SJR in red spawning on the Sulphur Lake side. Their mechs are going to get a little bit of rust if they stay there too long. Alright, so let's take a look at what each of these teams have for mechs. We see that SWK has brought 6 Dragon Slayers and 6 Jenners. So they have a very symmetric build, you could say. Whereas it looks like SJR has brought 2 Jenners, 2 Embers, 2 Cicadas, and 6 Dragon Slayers.
Right. And so in this case, I would give a slight advantage if they did want to cap to the SWK drop deck. Unfortunately, this isn't the greatest map for capping. It's one of the smaller ones out there.
Yep, but we do see that White Death and Baller have moved to take that cap point. Looks like they are regrouping with the rest of their lights. And we do see SWK holding this far side of the ridge, whereas SJR is moving counterclockwise around this hill like so many have done before them. I think they're going to go for just that kind of standard strat, try and move in behind them, get some good picks, and take out the stragglers. We see the few lights here from SWK have scouted this push, and as has SJR scouted the movement of SWK's mechs. Big RD goes down from SWK on SJR, and yeah, it looks like both teams are just going to kind of circle around here for a little bit.
And this is certainly SJR's preferred strategy. We've seen recently from them, rather than take a position and hold it, they've generally tried to go with kind of a controlled movement strategy, where they're continuously moving and getting shots as they move. When you're doing that, it forces the other team to do the same.
Yeah, and we do see that.
Of course, the #1 map for the kind of ringing around the rosy you sometimes see around kind of one center position.
We do see that a couple of SWK's light mechs are out in back just a tiny bit. I don't think that that's going to be too significant because they are hard to hit, and so they'll probably get away. But we do see a lot of damage going down on Python, and he's got to actually just he can't engage anymore. He's at 77%, and it looks like he is going to get away. 66%, he finally makes it over that hill, but that's a lot of damage, and that means that he is a weak target. But we do see actually Carnage and Odwalla and those Dragon Slayers are way far behind, and SJR is very spread out at this point, whereas SWK is holding together. They are very clumped. They're moving a little bit slower than SJR, but they're staying more together as a team.
That's a good move. It looks like by SWK here holding up and getting together a little bit. SJR was doing a much better job of, I guess, moving around that and catching the trailers. SWK was certainly a lot farther from the back of, or SWK, sorry, was a lot farther away from the back of the SJR train. In that situation, sometimes what you have to do is turn around and engage, and that's tough to do if you're spread out. So SWK grouping back up together was a good move.
We do see a few mechs have actually gone down for SWK, 3 to be exact. 1 Dragon Slayer, oh yeah, 4 down. 2 Dragon Slayers and 2 Jenners. Looks like they did sort of stop that push on this edge and are now taking some very significant air arty. Both of them are looping back around each other now. SWK has taken the position that SJR was in just a couple seconds ago. And one thing to note is that SWK is up hugely on caps, but they are down in kills. 4 kills to 1 kill in favor of SJR. So what this has to be is that SJR has to take this engagement in kills, because otherwise I think SWK could take it on caps. We do see
it is such a small map at this point, and SJR has such an advantage in kills. I think they'll have trouble. SWK would winning a cap fight at this point.
Yep, and we see 2 more mechs.
Lost another.
Yep, 2 more mechs go down for SWK. 1 more mech goes down for SJR. We see these Dragon Slayers from SWK are getting just picked apart, even at the edge of this fight at distance. And SJR's Embers and Jenners and their mechs are just doing a ton of work. 2 more mechs go down for SJR, but it looks like there are only 3 mechs remaining for SWK, and they're fighting with the last breath. But I just don't think they're going to be able to do it. We see Sue and a Dragon Slayer fighting side by side with Twinkie Overlord, doing their best to put down as much damage as they possibly can on SJR. They're not willing to give up yet. 65 and 42%, and Sue goes down. Twinkie Overlord is still up, still torso twisting, still doing as much damage as he can, trying to take down some more mechs. And those 2 did manage, I think, to drop Pie Maker in that Jenner. But it looks like Twinkie is the last remaining mech, and he is backing away, trying to take down these lights. But he falls, and that means that this best of 5 series will go to SJR 3-1. A good game.
Which is exactly how last year's finals played out. And also, I believe, how the last RHoD match between these 2 teams went out. I think the big thing there you saw is just when you get into that ring around the rosy situation where it's 2 trains of mechs chasing each other, the team that is able to catch up to the other team's train first gets a huge advantage. You saw that there with those early mechs going down on the SWK side. Saw kind of the same thing on a previous match that took place that you guys didn't see on this stream. Sorry. On the Canyon Network, where it was got that situation. I was gonna say not only did SJR do a very good job of keeping their mechs moving and catching up to the back of the SWK train, they also did just a fantastic job of getting air and arty strikes out on the middle of that train, which would be their lights, finding opportunities to put those down, and it really it slows down your train, right? If all of a sudden you see that red smoke pop up in front of you, and you know you got to keep moving forward, otherwise those lights at your back are gonna start shooting you in the back, but you have to take an air and arty to get through it. It's tough choice, tough situation.
Yeah, so I was just thinking back a little bit on that match and what we saw. We actually did see SWK get some good shots down in the beginning of that match, but I think that was the time to take some embers. We saw SWK take that commanding victory on HPG because embers just, I don't think that they're built for that light drop. But when there are assault mechs, when there are open components, they are absolutely the right mech to take, because they will crit out those components, and they are the light brawler that you need in that situation, as well as the one you want right now.
So with Lords, with their 3-0 victory over SIG, and with SJR with their 3-1 victory over SWK, we now have a setup next week of the PGI finals, which will be very, very interesting to watch. It's great that rather than the PGI finals, which was a best of 1, which is a little bit limited, that we'll be able to see this next match in a best 5 format, where teams have a little bit of opportunity to adapt to each other's strategies, and also to run in kind of different weight drops, where one team might feel like they have an advantage over the other.
Yeah, and we've seen these two teams play. We've seen SJR and Lords play a couple games in the past, and they have always been very good games, very close. So it's going to be a fun finals. I'm excited to see those matches. So yep, just a quick recap of tonight. We have Lords beating SIG in a 3-0 victory in their best of 5, and we have Steel Jaguar Gaming taking Swords of Gintares out in the semifinal match 3-1 in their best of 5. And we'll see the finals next week. I'm excited.
It's gonna be great.
It's gonna be great.
Excited too. Hope you have me back.
Oh yeah, for sure, man. I'm gonna do everything I can to cast that one as well. So, all right, let's close it down here so that I can eat and shower and wash away the shame of missing you as that match. I will do some editing and try and get you guys some gameplay footage over that game so that you can hear and see. Because I know that Tribird and I have great voices, but you want to see what's going on too. All right, Tribert, let's hear some shout-outs, man.
My shout-out. Oh, I'm gonna shout out Windy City, Chi-Town, Chicago, where I'm going to be heading this weekend for a stag party. It's a long way away from where I live up here in Western Canada, but can't wait. Not only am I gonna have great fun on this stag party, but my Double Dragon partner Hulkins. That's a city of residence, so there's going to be some real-life Double Dragon going down in the city of Chicago this weekend. Look out, plus-side females.
Plus, I always try and remember what that shout-out was to. Plus-size females. There we go. Yeah, man. I'm only a couple hours away from Chicago, but I'm gonna be doing siding this weekend. So.
Oh man.
I know, right? All right. Well, all I have to. Yeah, well, man, I think we should just have like a Mech Warrior community meetup somewhere where just everybody from the competitive scene gets together and drinks a lot of beer and has a lot of fun. But that's what we should do.
Paintballs, maybe. Paintballs and mech costumes.
Oh, perfect. Gotta get like 2 guns and like a Mad Cat suit and run around. Like,
my AC2s, yeah.
You have different guns depending on like how fast your autocannons can shoot and stuff like that. Oh boy. I would like to give a quick shout out for everybody who watched. Thank you. I know we had some technical difficulties. Will not happen again, I promise. Thank you so much for Tribird for helping me out tonight. It's always great to have a co-caster. I'm sure Siri is a little bit peeved, but he can deal with it. He played well and won his match tonight, so he has that to be happy about. Huge shout out to Carl Berg and Nico, who helped me out with Spectator Cam, make sure everything was set for that. Yeah, great games tonight from all the teams we saw, and looking forward to the finals. Alrighty.
Thanks for watching, guys.
Yeah, thanks for watching. We'll see you guys next time.